Hello, hello, hello. Assalamu alaikum. Ji ayanu. Bakhair ragale. Ni hao. Chune shumme. Washmale. Ohio Gonzalez. Guten Morgen. Hola. Bonjour. Privyet. Kaifahal. And a very amazing Khush Ahmadi to everybody who's tuned into PT World and are watching World this morning alongside the very beautiful, the very pretty Maha Makhdoom and Shazad Khan. Hello, Maha. How are you today?
Hello, Shazad. Assalamu alaikum, everyone. Why do you never say the intelligent? Or like the
Okay,
clever?
very wise.
Or like, why does
Very
all
wise Maha Makhdoom, ladies and gentlemen.
that? Kidding. I'm good, thank you. I hope everyone is well. But I was just thinking, we're both really like wrapped up warm today. Are you feeling sick?
I'm not feeling sick. I'm feeling better, but you know what? It's very confusing.
Okay.
So now today when I woke up, it was cold, and then when I wore the jacket, it was warm, and then I was like confused. I was like, what to do? Whether to take it off or
Keep it
whether
on.
to wear it. So I was like, it's better to wear it because you never know that because the flu's around, all of these viruses are around, the weather's changing. So be
Absolutely.
careful.
Absolutely. I felt the same thing today. I was just like, I'm cold, so I'm going to wear it. When I got outside, it was warm. But now we're ready to start our show and our day with you guys. And we have a wonderful show lined up for you. But we have to look at what's happening around the world and within Pakistan, and then we will get started.
Let's do it. Good morning.
The leading multinational company in dairy products, Nestle, has launched a book depicting pictorial journey of its overwhelming contribution to promote dairy industry in Pakistan.
Wow.
Oh, look, it's Shazad.
And I was glad that they gave me the opportunity to actually host the entire book launch as well. And it was great.
Wonderful. I like how you kept that a secret.
Well, was it a secret? It
I
was all
didn't
over my
know.
social media.
Oh, okay.
Yeah. A Siberian cold front brought heavy snow in Rome after 6 long years and gave its residents the scope to witness the rare snowy scene. Snowfall lasted for nearly 10 hours. By the time it stopped snowing, the total accumulation was nearly 10 centimeters. Oh,
It's snowing in UK as well pretty
that's,
badly.
yeah, I saw the pictures. But imagine 10 centimeters, you cannot even open the door.
Okay, and China's information and communications technology giant Huawei Technologies unveiled its first chip to enable mobile devices to access 5G internet speeds.
Wow.
My mobile network won't even give me 3G.
Mine's still trying to provide with Edge.
Yes.
All right, last but not the least, Islamabad United will face Quetta Gladiators today in 9th match of Pakistan Super League at Sharjah Cricket Stadium. PTV Sports will telecast the match live from 9 p.m. Well, Lahore Qalandars really need to pick their game up. All right, ladies and
Good
gentlemen,
luck.
these were the top stories and not talking about intelligence. You know,
Yes.
that's what you said.
Yes,
That
exactly.
why don't I call you intelligent? But I do call you wise and intelligent as well. But I think our intelligence has a scope to a certain extent.
Do you think so?
I think so. I mean, it can vary from one individual to another individual, but there is a
limit.
level,
Okay.
there is a limit, and that's it.
Okay, that's interesting because I feel the opposite. I feel like the more there is so much information out there, we can learn a lot, we can keep growing, but retaining the information and calling it, whenever we need it, that is more difficult. But luckily enough, we live in the era of, technological advancements, and everything is going so far that like soon you'll be sitting here with a robot.
Or probably
think?
you.
Yeah.
But
Or
we certainly, in this era feel like robots too as well because we have to work quite a lot, 9 to 5, all of this and that. But other than that, ladies and gentlemen, I have a simple example to explain. Now, for example, these stories were written by somebody's fingers and then their brain, and they have to think about words and whatnot. Imagine that there's this era, we've already in that era that there are computers and they upload this you upload this information and it'll give you news and stories and whatnot. And so for all those people who are news desk editors, I think, I'm sorry to say that, it's about time that we are going back home.
I think, yeah, people need to start being concerned or interested in what's happening with the advancements, especially within the media world, because there is so much information, especially with the internet these days. You don't know what's fake news, you don't know what's real news, and we have to kind of go through it ourselves, and it takes a lot of time. But is there software, is there technology out there that can make our lives easier?
But can we manipulate that, or
That's
we
what we're gonna
cannot? I
find
think
out.
that's a question, but we do have a small video to share with you guys. So go ahead, take a look at this video first, and when you guys are going to come back, we'll ask the gentleman over here, how did he do that?
Yeah.
Former journalist Anish Sheikh is the main man behind Pakistan's first artificial intelligence reporter. Having worked in newsrooms and in the field, Anish was always looking for a way to make the job less taxing.
The idea behind this AI writer was to make a software which can write news reports or content by itself. We started this project in 2009 and we wanted to make a writer, and we soon discovered that it is very hard to make a writer, and then we sort of changed our plans and we started instead writing a reader, a software which would read the way you write. And when it has read, say 1000 articles written by you or me or any other person, it will just replicate the style.
People were skeptical of his plans, but he remained committed, invested $50,000 and also roped in 3 other co-founders. Dante was soon launched, named after the famous literary artist. The AI reporter works by assessing daily news headlines and grading them positive or negative, and then combining that with hard market data.
At this moment, it is writing Pakistan Stock Exchange closing of about 350 words. We do a sentiment analysis, which is the outer layer of this product. From that outer layer, we get the sentiment analysis and the basic news which can potentially or are affecting the market. Then it comes to a writing engine which we have developed. What it does is, on the basis of the data that it has and the sentiment analysis from the outer layer, it makes a news on the closing of the stock exchange.
As the stock market closes for the day, he gives us a demo.
We're just going to run this module and say how quick, the time that it will take to go to the final script. And that's it. PSX down by 369 points as traders keep selling. This is your headline. There are some of the analysis of, let's say, equities lost 1.4% last week as the country lost ground in the rebasing of.
So, ladies and gentlemen, without any further ado, CEO of Best Technology and developers of first artificial intelligence writing software, Dante. We've been joined by Mr. Anish Sheikh. Hello, assalamu alaikum. What are you doing to us?
Thank you very much for inviting me. Just one thing. The name of the company is
Base H.
Base H.
Base H,
Yeah.
yes, absolutely. That's
Thank
what
you.
you said, right?
Yeah.
Okay, exactly.
Right.
Okay, so Base H has created Dante, which is one of the leading AI writers out there, software. Now, tell us how, we've got from the report why you came up with it, but tell us in your own words, live, why did you create this?
It was 2009. I was working with a news channel, just like you do. I was the editor of business and finance, and I was taking care of the budget transmission. And then there was a problem because you've seen how budget transmissions are. I needed a few people to write the stories. And there were a few routine stories. They are just routine because, you know, that's your budget deficit, that's what happened. And I asked someone to write the stories and he or she was not able to write that. And I came up with the idea, but there are a lot of stories. We write a lot of stories every day. A lot of it is just routine.
Yeah.
They are exclusive stories, of course, they are interesting stories, but some of them are just routine. We do it every day, every day, every day. And
For the sake of it.
Yeah, for the sake of it. If there is a weather report, if there is a market report, if there is something, the weather is changing, if it's not drastically changing, it's just routine.
So the mundane daily routine things.
Yes, and I thought at least that's the very least we can do. But in 2009, the AI technology was coming of age and it wasn't sufficient. And people actually thought this is a crazy idea. They said that, look, humans write, machines don't. And I said, maybe what if they can? I said, no, you are crazy. And so that's the kind of resistance that I had to face with within the industry, actually. And but I said, okay, let's see what I can do.
Yeah.
And it failed. Honestly, it failed for the first couple of times. It failed drastically the next 10, 20 times. And I sort of thought I am doing it the wrong way.
Right.
Then one of my teachers, he's also a PTV legend, Masoom Usmani, he passed away last year. And he said one thing, we were just having tea somewhere, he said, look, some XYZ guy, he tries to write, but he doesn't read. I said, say that again? He said, look, he tries to write, but he doesn't read. And I said, thank you. He said, what? I said, I'll tell you later. I was never able to tell him.
Oh.
He passed away.
That's it.
What happened is I changed my approach. I said, look, this won't work. My software doesn't read.
Yeah.
So I made what I call now a style reader. What it does is you have to, like any machine learning, like any artificial intelligence, you have to train the model. So let's say you have written 1,000 articles in a pattern. You have written 1,000 articles in a pattern, and
Writing
I feed them
style.
both. Yeah, I will feed them both. So what this model will do, it will just read through it. They say you will use however, you will use nonetheless. So that's your style. That's your style. We'll copy
Matter
the
of
style.
fact.
Now, what will it do is once you feed the data to it,
Yeah.
right? It will pick up the data and it will assess. First, it will go on the internet. It will assess what's happening. Let's say there are 20 keywords. Let's say sell is a keyword. Let's say traffic is a keyword. Let's say arrival is a keyword. Let's say prime minister is a keyword. And there are negative and positive emotion sentiments attached to each and every keyword with the weightage. That's -5 is very negative, 0 is neutral, +5 is very positive, +3 is positive. It will weightage. Once it is done, the weighing up of the sentiment analysis, it will get the idea from local media and national media. See, as humans, we have limitations. You have a newspaper in front of you. You'll
See,
be
I
able
said
to
it, but Maha didn't agree.
yeah, you'll be able to say, read 5 newspapers every day, but a machine can go through 500 resources.
Okay,
yeah.
and no, that's a wonderful, idea, and the fact that you've created it.
Scary,
but
though.
yeah, it's absolutely.
Sort
Now
of.
the thing is, you were talking about how it, by one writer, 1,000 articles, it'll pick up their style and it'll start writing in their style. Oh God, there's like 20 questions in my head regarding this. Now, first of all, how does the software verify that these articles are real or they're not?
Authentic.
Oh, yeah, authentic or they're not.
It doesn't. It
doesn't,
doesn't.
okay.
Because, matter of fact, I am the creator and I am the person who is responsible for this software.
Yeah.
And this is training data, by the way. This is not real data.
Okay.
By training data, it means it will just train the model. It will will enable the software to write in a certain way.
Okay.
Your way or your way, right? This
Right.
is just training data.
Yeah.
Once we get to the real data, that's something else. Now, you talked about fake news just a while back. Look, the need of humans is still there.
Right.
Even if you implement the software to the extent possible, you still need an editor. So, for example, I am your reporter. So you will know the kind of reporter I am. So if I am an authentic reporter, you will trust me. I am your reporter and you know the news that are coming from me are right. But if there is an XY reporter of an XY channel, you might not necessarily go with it. You will say, I need to verify that. The robot doesn't do that. Robot cannot do that. Robot can do, you say, look, I have this data, I have this information, go ahead and make my news.
Yeah.
Just like a copy editor. It will make the news, but if you want to air it, you want to publish it, you want to publish it on your website, that's your decision. That's the human decision.
Okay, that's great. But now what I think is, for example, we have seen Panama leaks, we have seen too many other leaks as well, and we have seen leaks within our country too as well. Don't you think that in days to come, or we are talking about a very futuristic era where we do not have to do all of that work, all of that typing and reading and whatnot. We just provide them with the data and they give us whatever material we want. Don't you think that anybody can break in and create a havoc too as well?
Well,
So how do we secure it?
look, the security of your network and your software
Yeah.
is probably another matter, but your software developer, your systems engineers, your network engineers, your system security providers, they have to be mindful of that. Of course, there will be problems when, like you and I work in newsrooms which are semi-automated or fully automated, and we always, encounter or confront those threats, and it will go on. That's something which is going to be there, the security issues
But it
and
needs
the
to
people.
be a concern, right?
The concern is always there, but it's not because of the software, because of their people with the malicious
Okay.
intents.
Yeah.
Okay, but now the thing is, taking this forward, because this is really, like Shahzad said, it's a very incredible idea, it's really taking things into the future. But when you have this software and, it's analyzed people's writings and it can recreate those styles, what then happens to those, does that mean that the same style of writing will now then continue for the rest of the generations? Or, will it change it up? Will it change with the times? What's happening?
Because
with that?
if I copy Maha's writing style, probably to some extent it will be plagiarism as well, because I'm going to pick up on all of those words which he uses just to copy her too as well.
Okay, so that's two different things. So we're talking about the plagiarism aspect of it, and then the kind of repetitive kind
Yeah.
of
Okay, there are two things.
regurgitation of information.
Okay, there are two things. Look, when you go into a machine learning model, the machine learning model means that the model will keep training itself.
Okay.
All right. Let's say to start with, I have just used a hypothetical figure. Let's say 1,000 articles in a same pattern, right? What will happen is it will start with that training data,
Yeah.
but that's not where it ends.
Right.
You can let that model go train itself on the data that is available. Let's say your style of writing, my style of writing, his style
Anybody.
of writing, her style of writing. And it will keep learning because it doesn't have this human limitation. It's a machine.
And it doesn't want lunch breaks, dinner breaks.
It's up
That's
to
a really
you. You want to feed
interesting
your computer?
Okay, but like for me, my major concern is that, like you said, that you still need an editor. But then, what does it do to the rest of the chain? Because that's what the industry did as well, right? The coal mining and all these things. It kind of led everyone out.
Look, the concern about that. Let be more frank about it.
Yes,
the
please.
concerns about the jobs is realistic, okay, and it should be there. And I have to concede that it may affect some of the jobs initially, at least.
Initially,
You see, what has happened when we were going into the computer's digital era, some jobs were lost then too.
Yeah.
yeah.
But then what happened is all those people started to work for computers, work with computers. So now we have more computer professionals today than we had industrial workers in 1940.
From typewriter to keyboard.
Now what we are doing is we are entering the fifth industrial revolution, which is the AI machine learning, blockchain industrial revolution. What is going to happen that at a certain moment of time, these softwares will take away a few jobs, and they will, because they have this efficiency that you cannot match. And if we don't do it, somebody else will.
Yeah.
Right? There are, as far as I know, at least 4 companies in the world who are working on a similar solution.
Okay.
And why not?
Exactly.
Right? Now, once you know that the routine copywriting is not needed, there will be one superlative copywriters which will know how to package things which will be appealing to other human beings, which I think right now my software or any other software would not be able to replicate. One
Right.
thing. Second thing is, even in my company, I am hiring people who can write to train models to write for me.
Yeah.
Okay.
So there'll be more people working for companies like Base Edge
So
than who will be working for PTV World.
Yeah, so you're actually
Oh, I
getting
see.
people to write so that your software can learn different styles.
Yes.
And as many as they can.
Yes.
But then at the similar point of time, what I would love to ask is, do we have any other training programs for such artificial intelligence softwares coming in? So because that will be a newer niche as well, and that will be a newer industry, and we want people to be trained about that.
Let's see, that
And that's where
would be the other
creative
level.
jobs comes in.
That would be the other level.
Okay.
It will take at least, for me, it will take another 2 quarters at least that it will start writing professionally in a news channel or maybe a news website. Just for the sake of it, I've been in talks with a sports website, and we may be able to leverage some sort of technology
Wow.
to them. And we'll soon have a website which will update and create itself by itself. No human resource, maybe just one.
All right.
We are just,
So just checking
about,
whether it's running smoothly.
Okay.
or
we're
not.
just about to enter
Okay.
this.
No, and that's the I don't want to be the naysayer here. I don't want to be. I think it's absolutely fantastic, and you know, it's like you said, we need to keep up with the advancements and evolution. But within a country where you're already struggling, you know, with employment and with you know, kind of proper employment where people have rights and, you know, good pay. Surely this is not. I mean, this is great. I mean, it's great. It's super great, but it also has a lot of negative. Do you see what I'm trying to say?
Let me address your concerns.
Yes, please.
Look, yes, there is a problem of employment in Pakistan. But do you know that there is a problem of quality HR?
Yes, that's
For
true.
the last 2 weeks, I've been trying to hire one specific resource, Karachi, Lahore, Islamabad. I wasn't able to find it.
Right.
All right. There is another spin to it. And this solution, it isn't necessarily about Pakistan. It writes English, so it's basically a global solution.
Okay.
Right. It just so happens that this company, the
here.
founder and all the co-founders are from Pakistan. It's just
Okay.
a coincidence. It could have been Scandinavian country, it could have been African country, anywhere, right? And in fact, 2 of the softwares are in our neighboring countries,
Okay.
as far as I know. So
Even in any country, I would still ask these
yeah,
questions. So
yeah. Look, but so what I'm trying to say is, the employment and the quality of human resource, they are probably another debate. That's the academia to look at it, the government to look at it, how your economy is growing. Software like these, robot like these, will of course play their parts. Let me tell you one thing. In 10 years' time, you see the blue collar jobs, they will be eliminated. Because there will be robots who are working as chefs, who are working as cleaners, who are working as people who construction industry. You won't be needing those people.
Okay, I truly get that. But one last
So
thing.
basically, humans are going to become obsolete.
Yeah. Yeah,
No.
but one last thing. and
Humans will
that
need
is-
to reinvent themselves.
Okay.
Okay, we definitely do have to reinvent ourselves, but one last thing before we wrap up the
Yes.
segment, and that is that, for example, if your software adapts the writing styles. Now, we know that within the media industry, we have practices where people are more inclined towards, one subject or towards another subject.
Yes.
So, and it's hard to find probably a writer or reporter or anybody else who's very neutral and who shares facts from both the sides. So if a software is picking up on styles, how are we going to ensure that the news is authentic and is not biased?
It's just picking up styles,
Yeah.
writing styles,
Yeah.
Okay.
not the tilt,
Okay.
right? It writes in its own way.
Okay.
There is a very basic thing, I'm glad you asked this question. It's a very basic thing in computers, it's called decision tree. It is pre-artificial intelligence. So the decision tree and the way this software will make the decision, it's not based on the writing side, it's based on the data and the information that it is picking, and the algorithm inside it, which is predicting the direction of the news, the sentiment of the news, and where the news should be.
So our
Okay.
future is in software's hand now,
Well, most
because
of the,
we rely on news.
No, but it's taken from the human, kind of
yeah,
template
but
as
still
well.
be an editor,
Yeah.
will still be someone to do
Check
the
everything.
essential padding and make it more readable for humans, maybe.
Okay.
More
What a great
acceptable.
initiative, Mr. Anisi.
Thank you
Thank you
very
very
Thank you
much
so
for being
much.
with us.
Thank you for
Absolute
inviting
pleasure,
me.
and best of luck with it all. I hope we still have jobs soon. But this is a fantastic idea, and it's really taking Pakistan forward. And as we've always said, that there are brilliant minds within Pakistan with really brilliant ideas, and they're actually doing something about it. But our second segment, Shahzad, what are we going to be
Yeah,
talking
so
about?
as Mr. Anisi from BSH very correctly said, that it's about blockchain as well, which is the process of doing things, over the internet or virtually. I think that's what we are discussing. What is blockchain? And when we talk about blockchain, we need to talk about cryptocurrencies. Go
Exactly.
ahead, take a break. We're going to come back with something more exciting. Good morning.
Welcome back, everyone. And before the break, we were discussing AI, artificial intelligence, and within Pakistan, there has been a software that's been created by Anish Sheikh, and it's called Dante, and it's so advanced that it's really amazing, and it's also kind of scary at the same time to see, where our lives are leading. But, away from the AI aspect of it all, there are other advancements as well. We're even looking, within business, within currency, and Shazad mentioned already that we will be talking about cryptocurrency, because some people say it's the currency of the future, some people say it's going to be the end for currency, some people, so there's a lot of debate on it, and we've never done a show on it, have we,
So I
Shazad?
think what we need to realize over here is that we belong to such sort of families or to such sort of sentiment where we, even when we buy land, we say, okay, if we can step our foot on the land, then we can buy it. So we have been sharing this sentiment with all those people, and we have been investing money in things which were very tangible as well. Now, virtual or cryptocurrency is something which we cannot see how it works, who's behind it. For example, any government prints money according to their gold reserves. Now, how come cryptocurrency is coming out, and what is it based on, and what kind of reserves is it based on? Is it even based on a reserve? Who's behind it?
Exactly.
There are too many questions to ask, and they're confusing in the morning.
Exactly. There's a lot of discussion out there. There's some positive stuff, there's some negative stuff. But today, what we're going to do is trying to give you as much information about the whole cryptocurrency and focusing on Bitcoin as well. And also see what the negative aspects of it are, because there are some negative things which we need to be aware about.
Okay, have you invested in cryptocurrency?
Yes, I have.
Oh, very nice. I haven't, ladies and gentlemen.
No,
So we're going to try to find a balance.
Okay, so let's introduce our guests, because I feel like we're in that generation where we have, we're caught up in everything. But before that,
but before that, what we're going to do is that we're going to share a small video, and this video is going to tell you how cryptocurrencies work.
let's have a look.
Let's go.
When you want to buy something normally, using your normal bank card, this is what happens. I give my card details to the shop. The shop asks the bank if I'm good for the money. The bank checks its records to see if I've got enough in my account. If I do, it lets the shop know. It updates its records to show the movement of money from my account to the shop's. Oh, and it takes a little cut for its trouble. Now, if you wanted to remove the bank from that system, who else would you trust to keep those records and not alter them or cheat in any way? Well, I wouldn't trust you. I wouldn't trust you. In fact, I wouldn't trust any single person. But I might trust everyone. The idea is you don't have a central record of transactions. Instead, you distribute many, many copies of this ledger around the world. Each owner of each copy records every transaction. So, to buy something using cryptocurrency, I give the shop my details. The shop asks all the bookkeepers if I'm good for the money. The bookkeepers all check their records to see if I have enough. If I do, they tell the shop, and then all update their records to show the movement of money. So there's no way that a forged transaction can make it in. If I try to alter a ledger, it won't match all of the other copies, and it gets rejected. Oh, and one of them, at random, will be given a reward of some newly created cryptocurrency. This is how cryptocurrencies work. And remember, all of these bookkeepers, all of these ledgers, they're not actually people, they're computers. Lots of computers.
Interesting. So,
And to move forward with that, I think we actually need to have a rain check over this video as well, whether this was the correct explanation of how cryptocurrencies work. And for that particular reason, ladies and gentlemen, we have been joined by, the youngest ever CEO Pakistan has seen, author of many books as well. He's none other than Mr. Fahim Sardar. Hello, assalamu alaikum. How are you?
Walaikum salam. How are
CEO
you?
Askari Securities.
How are you? It's
Absolutely
good
We're
to be
good.
back.
Welcome back. Thank you for
Both
being
of
on
you
the show.
look sprite today.
Because we have to be kept on our toes with all this artificial intelligence and the future.
true.
So let's start from the basic. We did
And I
just
feel
see.
sorry that, I'm a kid back from 1980s.
Okay.
Well, imagine kids being born today.
I know, they're so
I'm
lucky.
from the 70s, so
Okay, so let's start from the basic. We did have a little display of
Is
what
it the
is
correct process of cryptocurrency?
it's a very sanitized, very simple description of how it works. And yes, the answer is yes. Look, what is a cryptocurrency? Let's break up the term.
Yes.
Crypto means anonymous, something you cannot define, something you cannot name. Currency means a value of exchange. Okay. Now, what this whole concept is, if you want me to start from the beginning, where this sort of came from, this came from when people wanted to be anonymous on the internet, when they wanted to transact anonymously on the internet, because everything can be traced. And by the way, this can now be traced as well.
Yes.
That's not an issue. I'm not a computer expert, but I have seen what this can do. My first question when it comes to cryptocurrency is, the concept is fantastic, but the effect is something very, very drastic.
Okay.
My first question that I always ask, this is the sixth time I'm being asked about cryptocurrencies in the past 2 months.
Yeah.
So my first question is, have you been to the dark web, Shahzad and Maha?
No.
Go there once and you'll see why, what the positives and negatives are.
My parents don't even let me on the web, generally being on Facebook or Instagram.
Yeah.
So basically what we're trying to say here is, look, a currency is a value of exchange.
Yeah.
Something that minimum 2 people accept as a unit of currency. It used to be salt, it used to be stones, it used to be seashells, then it became a metal, then it became gold, silver, palladium, and now we have fiat currency. This is beyond a fiat currency. Fiat currency is a token currency. What we have in our wallets, what we have in our bank accounts is fiat currency, which itself has a big question mark.
Okay,
This
now
is beyond that.
I'm sorry that I'm jumping a bit ahead, but
Sure.
Let's see how far you go.
since you talked about crypto and it being anonymous, and that's why we shared in the video, everybody was wearing a mask because everybody was
you
anonymous,
go.
and you do not know who is who and who's doing what. I think that's what the question is. So how do we figure out that if it's anonymous, there can be so many wrong things happening at the same time with this currency then?
Okay, let's keep a balance here. Let's start from the positives first. Okay, from the Orwellian 1984 concept of everything being watched by Big Brother, this was a reply to the Big Brother thing. Now, when what's the most famous cryptocurrency is Bitcoin, which was supposedly created by Satoshi Nakamoto. Okay. Who this person was, who this group of people were, a paper came out which gave this concept in Japan. Okay. Fine. The concept is very interesting. It's very alluring. It draws the cults towards this area because you get away from the government. The concept is very good, but once you, as you Shahzad have pointed out, and as we saw in that clip, people are anonymous. Why do you want to stay anonymous to make payments?
Yeah.
Okay, because once you go onto the dark web, I've been there, and you immediately understand what the whole point is.
Right. Okay. So now, in regarding the anonymity of the cryptocurrency, now is every cryptocurrency, so there's Bitcoin, there's Litecoin, there's Ethereum,
Index
there's
and
Ripple,
whatnot.
and the list goes on and on. Are all of them anonymous, or is it just?
They're all based on the same model, and
Okay.
being somebody who's passionate about this word value, I've written a book about this.
Yeah.
We have to be very clear. What are these currencies going to turn into?
Right.
Okay, what are they going to do with value? Right now, if Bitcoin, okay, let me give you a live example. I was approached by some people to invest in Bitcoins approximately 2 months ago. The price was going up. It was going up to around about 16, 17,000.
Yeah.
And I said, no way. Because, I mean, I'm an investments person. I can tell when something's not right. 1 week after that, the price crashed.
Yeah.
Then it crashed once more. Then it got back up. This sheer volatility in price is being dictated by not by supply, by demand,
Yeah.
by the creation of demand. And that itself destroys the whole concept, because gold is immutable. You cannot change gold. Try whatever you want. The difference between gold and lead is 1 electron. That's it.
Okay.
But in order to turn lead into gold, you will have to, you might as well buy gold.
Okay.
This is where I was coming,
Okay.
because what I wanted to ask was, okay, gold, you gave a very beautiful example too as well, but other than that, how are we going to control how many bitcoins there need to be, or how many any other currencies need to be in terms of numbers? For example, if that is the concept, I think I can come up with my own cryptocurrency
People
too.
have, Shahzad, let me just jump quickly because there's a lot of information that we might want to cover.
Yeah.
You're absolutely right, Shahzad. There are 21 million bitcoins allocated.
Yeah.
Okay, that's the limit. I've never heard of anything like this. Okay, well, what they tried to do was they tried to keep the U.S. Federal Reserve, Bank of England concepts in front. They keep printing money. We're just going to. This was a very beautiful, I think, university paper at best, but the concept has morphed into something slightly different. Okay?
Okay.
And let's not shoot it down. Let's just look at it very, very,
Yeah.
objectively. At the end of the day, there are lots of benefits in it. If you can just add, for example, a bit of regulation to it, if you can add a bit of oversight to it, I think it's fantastic.
Right.
It is fantastic.
That's
It
the
has to-
whole point,
Okay.
anonymous,
No,
crypto.
okay, so now that's the thing. Now, there's a lot of, okay, so let's, we've talked about a lot of the hurdles and the kind of the negative aspect of cryptocurrency. But the fact of the matter, like, there are countries that have also banned it, like
Sure.
China, I think South Korea.
even Pakistan.
Even
And
Pakistan,
Pakistan as well.
Yep.
Now, like you said, the potentially it could be very great, and we are moving into the future. In the first half, we're talking about reports
Artificial
not being written by
intelligence, yeah.
reporters. Now, I've been reading a lot of the news articles on this. Like you said, it's very volatile. A lot of the banks and a lot of these people agree. However, there are also the counter statements, which are, it is the currency of the future. The new generation are really benefiting from it. It's kind of opening up and not, the restrictions from the old type of financial kind of industry. Those restraints aren't there maybe for the newer generation.
Sure.
What would you say about all of that?
Maha, it's a big debate, and I mean, that's just one side of the picture. That's just one, because I've been in forensics, I've been in the investments industry for 22 years. There are a few very basic questions that I would like to ask, which if you can't answer this question, then it's best to stay away. Who's buying
Who's buying what? Bitcoin?
these bitcoins?
She is.
No, I'm not buying Bitcoin. I can't afford
What
Bitcoin.
about
but-
cryptocurrency?
Yeah.
Cryptocurrency.
Yeah.
You see, unless
People
you,
who kind of may be disillusioned with the kind of.
you see, but how much would they buy? But who's buying in chunks? Who is the major shareholder?
Right.
Who's controlling the system?
Exactly.
These blockchain people who manage. I mean, I'm not a techie. Okay, sorry about that, but
It's all right. People who
the
mine.
the miners,
Yeah.
exactly. Fine, they're technical experts, but I mean, are they economic experts? Who do they work for?
Right.
They might be absolutely honest and innocent and about that, but do they know what a currency can do to a nation, to a region?
Right.
Currencies can, without doing anything, currencies can build and destroy nations
Yeah.
in 1 year.
Yeah.
So we have to look at it from a very objective perspective. I'm saying there are benefits.
Yeah, absolutely. Okay, so then let's talk about it. So now, with countries that are banning it and the fact that, there is so much debate going on
Sure.
about it. So that means that there's something within the current system that isn't really fitting in with the movements of the
With
population.
financial innovations.
Exactly, financial innovation. So what is the step forwards? Because there's so much debate. Like you said, there's so many positives and then there's so many negatives with it as well. What's the right thing to do?
Yeah.
I think the right thing to do is to be a part of it, but from a slightly safe distance. Do not.
Okay.
There's an old saying, "Fools plunge in where angels fear to tread." So I mean, if somebody is going to tell me that gold will be replaced tomorrow, then I'll tell them to replace their gold with cryptocurrencies first. Then I'll buy.
Yeah.
Yeah.
They'll never do that. They're going
Okay.
to continue buying gold. Why is China buying gold? Why is India buying gold? They do have very smart people sitting there. They have people telling them, no, you have to build up your gold reserves. Why has Germany taken gold back from the United States of America, from the US Federal Reserve? It's been returned. Why? Because they're going back to gold. cryptocurrencies are a very advanced concept, and yes, it does not fit into the existing system. And you will see, for example, how can there be two parallel currencies in one country?
Yeah. It can't happen.
No. Let's just pause for a second. We do have dollars, we do have pounds, we do have euros being exchanged in the same country. So, you know, I'll shoot myself in the foot by saying, you know, that's also happening. So what's wrong here? I don't think there's anything wrong with that. I just think one has to be extremely careful.
Okay.
Because investing in a currency, using a currency is one thing. Betting on a currency is something totally different. You might as well bet on the weather.
All right. Okay, so one small thing, and that is that for all of those cryptocurrencies which are available and which are existent right now, we buy them in exchange of dollars.
Sure.
So do you think that it can be a process of taking away dollars from different nations too as well? Because this is how we kind of communicate in terms of finances?
Shehzad, you've touched upon a very important point here, because there are many countries on earth who are, and America is one of them, who are facing extreme fiscal problems.
Yeah.
Exactly.
Okay, so if I'll give you an example. How can Pakistan improve its economy right now? Just start increase the demand for rupees.
Exactly.
You just need to do 2-3 things, and suddenly your rupee will start becoming stronger, and your debt goes down. If the rupee appreciates by 25%, your debt goes down by 25%, technically speaking. So they've been doing this for 70 years. So tell me something, if you're going to use your hard-earned currency, you're going to convert it into dollars, then you're going to buy cryptocurrency. So you first had something that is your local currency. You went into a foreign currency, which you think is fine. Then you went into something which you have never seen before in your life, and you are going to be comfortable with that. I mean, I, as an investment advisor, would ask people, okay, fine, dabble in it. Don't jump into it.
I'm not going to check the depth of the river with both of my legs.
Yeah.
So it's with one
I'm
leg.
I've dipped my toe into it.
That's
And
fine, that's fine.
But that's one thing I
But
was
do
reading.
learn.
Yeah, that's one thing I was reading. They were saying, like you said, don't jump in both feet first. Like, don't put all your investment in it. Be sensible about it.
I'll give you an example. I mean, I think...
Very quickly, we just have to wrap it
Sure,
up.
sure.
Final words.
Sure.
Yeah.
Why don't people buy rupees and hold them?
I don't know.
They should. It's much,
Yeah,
a much,
exactly.
much safer bet than cryptocurrency, because after 2 years, we'll see how things change.
Because whenever I have rupees and
Interesting.
whenever I try holding them, I can't do that. I just end up spending them.
Great.
That's
Thank
what
you.
the problem is.
Thank you so much
been
for
a
being
pleasure.
here,
Thank you.
and we
Thank
will
you.
call you back to have a further discussion on this, because it's complicated and it's confusing, but it's something that is here, and we do need to know what's happening around us and what's happening in the rest of the world as well. So if you want any information, log on to our Facebook fan page.
And before we do that, there's one more thing
Yes,
which I wanted to
absolutely.
say, and that is that, you know, ladies and gentlemen, if we go back in time and when, you know, new smartphones were coming out, we were the ones who could use them very properly and very efficiently as well. And our parents actually used to tell us, oh, can you change the ringtone and whatnot? It was difficult for them. I think we now are in the same era, and we have to adapt to the changes of futuristic technology, and if we are not going to do that, we're going to lag behind.
Absolutely. So with that, if you want any information about what we discussed today, log on to our Facebook fan page,
Which is with the name of World This Morning.
our Twitter page,
Well, this morning without a G.
our Daily Motion and YouTube page,
Well, this morning.
and the repeat is at
11 p.m.
Have a wonderful day, and we'll see you bright and early tomorrow morning.
Till the next time, 1, 2, 3, good morning.